Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E. Phillips. Oh, and today we're gonna start like officially outlining, like official. Also, I've kind of already started a little bit, but we'll get into it. So the last time you saw me was February 3rd, I believe, is when I filmed that world building video I did, the vlog from, you saw it last week, but I filmed it on the 3rd, and it is now the 17th. So it's actually been 2 weeks since I've filmed a vlog, and I definitely have been working over the last 2 weeks. So let me get you a little caught up on what's going on. I finished working through the world building stuff that I wanted to work through. I've got a lot of the characters situated. I've got setting details finagled. So that's all looking good. I'm sure when I get to the drafting stage, there'll be little things that pop up that I need to fiddle with, but for the most part, I feel pretty good about where all that is sitting. And then I kind of was at a point where it was like, okay, there's no more like historical stuff that I felt like I needed to research. The characters are fleshed out, ready to go. We've got the setting in order. It's time. It's time to start working on like actual scenes. What I have done this past week and that I'm almost finished with is I started going in and taking like my brain dump notes. I started looking through all the character stuff I had done, and I started just doing a bullet point list of scenes. If you watched that outline video I did back in, I think it was October, I'll link it below if you haven't seen it. But one of the first things I do when it's really starting to get to like the official outlining stage is I do a bullet point list of scenes. These are not in any order. It's just like, I have to have a scene where these two characters meet. I have to have a scene where this incident happens, you know. And so I'm just like bullet pointing all this stuff. They can be moved around. I'm not trying to connect them to anything necessarily. It's just a list of scenes. So I'm almost done with that. I've gotten through to about the 75% mark in terms of events and plot things. I'm struggling with how exactly to work out the ending. Endings are hard. How I have it figured out, at least at this point, at the 75% mark, the main sort of antagonist is dispensed, essentially. We've gotten rid of him. Like, we've solved the conflict that he's involved in, but then you're only 75% of the way through the book. So the way that resolves with him does then produce more conflict and more problems. But I'm not sure, like, is that going to lose some sort of momentum? Is that going to lose some sort of tension? Like, there's new tension that's created. I don't know. So anyway, I'm still thinking through like how exactly all that kind of stuff is going to work. I'm getting pretty close, which is a good thing because I've done something else. I've done something else. I have seen this offered, I feel like more and more often over maybe just like the last 6 months. Up until recently, I don't feel like I've ever seen this before. Maybe I was just missing it, but I do follow some different people on like Instagram and stuff like that who are developmental editors. And a lot of times I like following those kind of people because they'll often post things where they're like, hey, here's some tips for this writing thing. You know, it's just like handy. I've seen more and more of these developmental editors who typically offer like manuscript critiques or first X number of word critiques, like that kind of thing, which are typically super expensive. If you get a full manuscript critique, you're going to be spending some dollars, okay? Worth it. Like, I believe the service they're providing is worth that dollar amount, but like, okay, but that still doesn't mean I can pay it. Anyway, what I've seen several people offering recently is outline critiques. Okay, yes. These, because it's just the outline, and obviously it's not 100,000 word thing, it's much shorter. These, to me at least, are much more reasonably priced, something that I can afford, and so I've signed up for one. Ooh. It's gonna be, we haven't set an exact date. I just contacted this person earlier, like 2 days ago, like earlier this week. It'll be like mid-March though that I need to have my outline and other materials to her for this critique. My hope for this is that obviously I'm going to get feedback from her on, you know, are there plot holes? Do the motivations of the characters make sense? Like, you know, all that kind of stuff. Do the scenes connect to each other the right kind of way? Is the resolution satisfying? All that kind of stuff. What I'm really hoping is that then I can incorporate her feedback into the outline, improve it, make it even better. And then I'm thinking that should make the first draft a much stronger first draft than I normally would end up with, right? That's what I'm hoping for. So that means I need to have my outline completed by mid-March. It'll either be the 11th or the 18th that I send my materials to her. So yeah, I need to have it ready by then. I'm feeling pretty good. Like that gives me at least 3 weeks, if not a full month. I feel that feels very doable to me at this point. I'm hoping we can go for the March 11th. It's like you're setting a deadline for yourself. So if I send it to her on the 11th, that obviously gives me less time now to finish everything. If I do it on the 18th, I'll have that extra week. But she will take 1 to 2 weeks to actually do the evaluation and then send me back the feedback, right? If I send it to her on the 18th and it takes her 2 weeks, that's going to put me right at the end of the month. And that'll give me no time to implement the feedback, to revise the outline, and start drafting by the beginning of April, which was the original goal. We can move the goal. I don't have to start drafting at the beginning of April. Okay, we can move it. It's fine. Nobody's expecting, or I haven't promised anything to anybody. I'm not working with a publisher. It's a self-imposed deadline, right? We can change it. I don't want to change it though. I want to start drafting in April. I'm really excited to start drafting. A lot of dates still kind of flying around and a few little uncertainties there, but I'm really excited. And I'll definitely let you guys know how it goes, what I think of the service. I'm not going to link to who this person is yet. I'm going to wait until I get the feedback because I don't want to link to somebody and then get a service that I feel like is not worth it, I don't think it's going to be that. But anyway, I'll link to this person once I'm a little more assured that I feel confident in telling you guys, hey, this is a great person to go to for editing needs. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think this is a really cool service that developmental editors are starting to offer. And it makes it's such a cool, wow. I just feel like this could be super valuable. So we're going to be working hard so that I can have everything ready to go and have it to her in like a month or so. To that end, there's something super, super exciting that I'm going to start on today, I think. At least preliminary stuff. Are you ready? Are you ready? That's right. That's right. It's calendar time. If you haven't been around, if you're new to the channel, I love using calendars to help plot things. One of the things that I get really nitpicky about is dates and timing, okay? Especially because my books are taking place, in the early 1800s, and if there's any sort of travel involved, you really have to make sure you're giving the characters an adequate amount of time to travel to places that are farther away. Today, we could probably get to these places in like a day, a few hours, but back in the ye olden England times, it would have taken a lot longer. And so if you don't write that time into the book, it's going to feel very off because people are going to be like, how did they get there that quickly in a carriage? No. I like to have it all plotted out. And there are certain dates that are kind of like, it doesn't have to be set in stone, but I really love working with historic details and being like, this thing was taking place on this date in 1811. So I write that in pen because that's the official real date for it. The stuff I'm working with though isn't like the day Napoleon was defeated or the day the Revolutionary War started. It's not dates like that. It's much more, most people aren't going to have any idea when the Royal Exhibition started in 1811. Nobody is going to know that. I know that though. And so I'd love to have it work out so that it lines up correctly. If I need to flub the dates a little bit, I could, but it's much more satisfying to me when it actually lines up. So we're going to start working on the calendar stuff today. I'm really excited about that. And then hopefully we'll get to that ending piece and I can maybe figure out a little better how this book is supposed to end. That would be helpful. So let's start with calendar stuff. Actually, I lied a teeny bit because I've already done a calendar. If you follow me over on Instagram, you've seen this. Do you like it? Do you like it? You guys, this is so ridiculous. But it's important, okay? So if you watched the video, the world building video, I was talking about how like my main male character has like this group of friends, right? And then I have my other book that I'm currently querying, and I have a whole bunch of books like connected to that. Are these two completely separate series going to be intertwined across the same timeline? Absolutely. I have like 11 books in my head. 11. And I wanted them to all line up so that it made sense. So we've got a little calendar going on. I like it. Things can be moved. It's not set in stone. Some of them are. Like my book that I'm querying, like I really need that to take place in April of 1812. Okay, like that's in here. But the other, yeah, so that was fun. This is the thing I spend my time doing. Is this necessary? Probably not, but it makes me feel good. All right, so I've got my beautiful blank 1811 calendars here. And I'm going to start filling in the dates that are like the set in stone dates and go from there. Okay, so in my book, I'm using the Royal Academy's exhibition as part of the story stuff. And I used newspapers.com, which by the way, oh my gosh, this was the most exciting thing to happen. Listen to me right now. Okay. This is better than having gotten an email from an agent asking for like a full request or something. I was so excited. Newspapers.com. If you were here a couple weeks ago, you saw how obsessed I was with this website. Unfortunately, the website costs a lot of money to actually subscribe, so I was using a free trial. And the free trial ended. So that was extremely sad, and I went through withdrawal. But I got an email yesterday. It was like late afternoon. This email came in from newspapers.com, and it was like, hello, do you want a free weekend of newspapers.com? Like, just click on this link. It's free for the whole weekend. It's free. Extremely excited. So I need to use that this weekend to do something. I don't have anything in particular, but we're going to use it for something because it's awesome. Anyway, back when I had the free trial, I found all this information in the newspapers. So cool. Okay, so anyway, here, let's get back to the calendar. Okay, so in 1811, the exhibition opened on April 29th at noon. So we're going to write that in. And then every day after that, it was open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I don't need to necessarily write that in because that'll be there. Varnishing day would have been the 3 days prior, but probably not Sundays. So I'm going to say varnishing day. I didn't see exact dates for varnishing day. Varnishing day was when the artists could come and do any final touch-ups on their pieces that they wanted to do, which I think is kind of hilarious. But anyway, I'm going to say varnishing day is probably in here. Something like that. Killing it with the calendar so far. Okay, and then artists had to bring their stuff if you wanted to try to get in. The exhibition was open to the general public as well as like well-renowned artists. Anybody could submit their stuff, and it was open to like paintings. That was the big thing. Paintings, sculpture, and architecture, which is the main thing I'm going to use in my story. The Royal Academy was open to accepting pieces for evaluation on April 4th and 5th. And then it's pretty wild the way they used to, and they still do it this way. They have like a team of people, because there would be like thousands of pieces, right? And they only have like a week or two to evaluate the pieces and decide which ones are actually going to be in the exhibition. And the way they do this is they have a huge team of people, and they have like the selection committee sitting in a room, and then they're just bringing pieces in and being like, how about this one? How about this one? How about this one? Like, they're just like boom, 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 boom. Like, they're just like flying through these things. So each of these pieces, on average, has like a few seconds in front of these evaluators, in front of the selection committee. wild. And they still do it that way. There's a video on YouTube. You can see how they're just like, no, no, no. Ooh, this one. Okay, yes. Like, it's just wild. Anyway, they take about a week, and then it's like a week after the pieces are dropped off, people who entered something could go back and stand in line, and this guy would have a book of all the pieces that were accepted, and then you could ask and see, like, did my piece get in? And he would be like, absolutely no, it did not get out of here. And that would be really crushing to be told that in front of like everybody else in line. So I'm gonna say it was a little vague. It said a week after pieces are dropped off. So I'm gonna say the 15th of April is when they could go back. That all looks good. Is there any other date that is like, ooh, we really need this? Oh, the other thing I'm gonna use, are some lectures. Now I am gonna flub this. A tiny bit. There are reasons I need the story to take place in 1811. We're not going to go into the details for this video, but I need it to take place in 1811. There is an architect who was a professor at the Royal Academy, and part of the professor's like job responsibilities, in addition to like the regular classes or whatever that they did, they were required to give lectures. A series of lectures, like once a year, I think. This particular architect, John, I think it's Soane, S-O-A-N-E. John Soane gave a very famous set of lectures. Technically, he gave the lectures, I think, in 1812 or 1813. He got in trouble in 1810. He'd given like a couple of the lectures, and he was very critical of some designs by another dude who was like, I think he was also a professor at the Royal Academy. I forget now, but he was very critical of this other like contemporary, still producing work. He was still alive, right? And a bunch of people got super offended about it, and they were like, you can't disparage this dude's work. He's like literally right here. And John Soane was like, it sucks. His work was terrible. Like, I'm going to say what I want to say. And they were basically like, no, you really can't say that. And so he canceled the lectures for like a year while they were arguing about like, can you be critical of current day people? So anyway, they finally decided, no, you cannot. And he was like, fine. And he resumed the lectures in like, I think 1813. I'd have to look it up. Maybe 1812. Anyway. So 1811, when my story is taking place, is the year that he wasn't doing lectures. I'm going to fudge it and say he was giving lectures this year. Okay, we're just going to do that. And I think typically they started in February. I took some screenshots yesterday from newspapers.com, you guys. Ugh. Hold on, let me find it. This was 1810. He started the lectures in January. Were they every week? Ooh. Newspaper.com. Let's see when he was giving his lectures. Every week or like every other week? Was it just like random? Let's find out. Okay, good news. It does look like the lectures were given once a week on like Mondays or Fridays, depending on the year. But I found another article. This is so fun. It's just so many like cool little details that you could potentially use. This one article is talking about how the lectures are great like for the information that he's providing, but they have this incredibly harsh critique of his presentation about like sometimes he's talking really fast and sometimes he pauses at like awkward moments in the middle of a sentence and sometimes he's talking too slow. Like fantastic. Okay, so let me get back to this. I don't even remember what I was doing because I got distracted looking at newspaper stuff. But yeah, let me fill in, I guess, where maybe some of these lectures would have started and ended. And then we'll go from there. I've spent entirely too long on that website once again. Okay, I need to do this stupid calendar. Oh, I keep finding fun things that have nothing to do with this story, but they're really interesting, okay? Okay, no, we're not going to go into it because it doesn't matter because it has nothing to do with this. All right, let's start putting in some story events. God, this is so hard. I'm going to use pencil, obviously, and try to figure out when certain things are happening. And we can move them around if need be because it's a pencil and I can erase. Okay, I've plotted out where most of my scenes would fit on this calendar. There's a lot, this is interesting because there's a lot of room right now to play. Like there's time between different events, which in past books, I feel like everything is like, like this date, this date, this date, like it's very, there's not a lot of wiggle room in terms of like timing between things. Everything is like boom, 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 boom. This feels a little more spread out, which will work. I think it'll work in terms of like how their relationship progresses. And I can certainly do like time skips, you know, the next few weeks were blurry of activity or like something like that, you know? So I think it works as I currently have it conceived. And there's room to like move things if I feel like, oh, I need to move this event like 2 days forward or 2 days backwards or something like that, or even like a week forward backward. Like it'll still all play out right. Hopefully. Let me take a little break. And it's going on 11. Let me take a little break, check on Junie, and then come back and see if I can brainstorm a little more how I want this book to end. Because we still haven't figured out the ending yet. So let's do that. She's still got all the spunk. My poor little girl. All right. Cleaned up her pen a little bit. We had a lot of good poops, so that's good. I helped her pee, because that's the stage we're at. And yeah, now she gets to go back into her clean little pen. Look at her. Look at her struggling. You're okay. Hi. There she is. Little Junie. All right, we're still in the struggle bus over here a little bit. I did take a little break to get some lunch. I still need to spend some time just doing like brainstorm stuff for this ending. I have like some different ideas, some different options. None of them seem like it. You know what I mean? I think I just need some more time. So in the meantime, what should I do? I could start my little scene breakdowns. Am I ready for that? I don't know. I feel pretty good. In terms of like the main timeline? I don't know. That seems very like, that's like the last step for me before drafting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, again, watch that outline video. I go through what that is for me. But yeah, that's like the last thing I do before I'm ready to start drafting. Let me reread this story summary I've got so far. I've got a couple different, you know, if you've been here for a while, I tell myself the story multiple times in multiple different ways. I've got like the list of scenes, the bullet point list of scenes. I've got like the brain dump notes. I've got a narrative, like the first chapter opens with this, and then this happens, and then this happens. Like I'm writing it out like a summary of this whole thing. So let me reread my little summary I've got going on, because there are some holes in there that I could try to mess with. Let's do that. Oh, there's so much stuff. Okay, I think I'm like done for today. I'm trying to make this so that the characters like get what they thought they wanted, but when they get it, it's like, wait a minute, oh, this isn't really fulfilling me the way I thought it was, you know, like that kind of thing. And then the other thing that I've seen, I feel like more and more recently, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, but I'm trying to see like how could I work this ending differently than like maybe the direction I would have gone. So in a lot of romance books, 75% of the way through, something happens. Everything's been looking great. They think they're in love or they've whatever. And then 75% of the way through, something throws everything off. And in a lot of books, not all of them, but in a lot of books, the main couple will have some sort of breakup, right? They'll be split apart for reasons. Now, a lot of people hate this when there is the miscommunication trope employed, where if the two of them just sat down and had an actual adult conversation, they would realize like everything is fine. I just misunderstood something, right? But they don't, because it's a book and it's all dramatic and like everyone's upset, right? And people hate that. Most people. A lot of people hate that trope because it's been overused, and a lot of times the miscommunication is like not anything that should be that dramatic, right? So people don't like seeing that. Now, I do agree with that when there's a miscommunication of some sort employed in the book at any point, whether it's at the end or not. That's so annoying, where you're like, nobody would react that way. Like, it's obvious that this person did it because of this reason, or like, whatever. So I definitely don't want to do that. But I'm just trying to figure out like how, because you have to have like a dark night of the soul kind of moment where they think they've lost the thing that they really do want, or that they've come to realize is the thing they really want. I'm getting there. I've got some different kinds of ideas now. We've looked on maps for appropriate place names for where certain things could be happening. I'm going to be done for today though. It's almost 3:00 and Jade is just starting to whine, and I'm just sort of tired of looking at it for the moment. So I'm going to put this aside and we'll come back to it tomorrow. Hey, welcome back. It's Sunday. Let's rant a little bit. Would you like to hear a rant from me? Okay, over on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, I already ranted a little bit over there about this, but I want to share with you because it applies here too. I follow a wide variety of people over on Instagram. Some accounts I follow are like individual writers like me. Others are more like a group or like a company, some sort of writing related group thing where it's not like one individual person, it's like the company or the group posting something. One of these groups that I follow reposted this. Let's look at this, because if you did all of this stuff on a daily basis, I feel like you'd be spending hours of your time on Instagram or preparing things for Instagram. Now, if the premise of this whole post is, if you do these things on a daily basis, your Instagram following will grow. Do I think that is true? Yeah, it better be true if you're doing all this work. And that's great. If that's what you're after, then I think these are great tips. But when you're on social media as a writer, social media can very easily take precedence over actually doing the writing work. That's why, like on this channel, you've seen me go from posting twice a week. When I first started this channel, I was posting every Tuesday and Friday. That is a lot of work. And eventually it was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have more time for writing. So I bumped myself back to once a week here on YouTube. Over on Instagram, I used to post 3 times a week. 3 times a week. And that it was taking forever. It was taking too much time, and again, taking time away from writing. So let's look at this thing. Let's look at this. I've got it on my phone here. Post something, anything. A reel, carousel, a photo, go live, just show up. Even if you're just posting a photo, you have to take the photo. You probably have to edit it. I'm not good at that, and so it takes me forever. And then you have to have some sort of caption, like what is this thing? What are you posting for? That takes me a long time. Just to do that little bit. A reel takes even longer. Even people who are content creators who can like churn this stuff out really quickly because they do it all the time and they're like experts at it. I've seen people say it takes them like 30 or 40 minutes to put a reel together. 30 or 40 minutes? Like, oh my gosh. I don't have time to do that. The next point is start 5 new conversations with new accounts that you haven't met yet. Every day I'm trying to find 5 new accounts to interact with. It's going to take you time to find somebody and track them. Oh my gosh. Spend 45 minutes engaging with other posts from people you follow. 45 minutes? Who has this time? Is this your full-time job? Post a few Instagram stories. Prepare and schedule your next post. Save 5 posts that inspire you or give you an idea for what you can post. These are all great tips. This would take my entire writing time. Whatever time I have to dedicate to writing on a daily basis, if I did all that other stuff, that would take my entire writing time. And then when am I writing? There are lots of opinions about social media when it comes to writers. Is it important to have a social media presence? Do you have to have some big following, or agents and publishers won't take note of you? The only time I've seen agents say, like, yeah, you kind of have to have a decent following is if you're writing nonfiction. For fiction authors, I've never seen an agent say, like, man, if you don't have some sort of mega following on social media, good luck. No, I've never seen that as like a requirement. And I've also seen people with over 100,000 followers, who publish books, and the sales numbers are not that good. They're not selling tens of thousands of copies just because they've got tens of thousands of followers. All that to say, if you're on social media, that's fine. I mean, obviously I'm on social media, but man, decide what's important to you. Is it important to you to have 20,000 followers, 100,000 followers? Then pour your time and energy into that. But if it's important to you to write a book and get it published, pour your time into that. Use social media as a little sprinkling on top. Don't make social media the like basis for what you're doing with your time. Having said that, let's go do some writing. All right, we're back here where I should be, in front of my computer. I did have some thoughts this morning in the shower, as one does, about the ending. I had been going down like one direction with how I thought the book could end. It's not bad necessarily, but I thought of something else that would tie in much better with some of the initial problems from the beginning of the book. It would be a little more of like a full circle kind of moment. I'm gonna just sort of write some notes to myself and try to see if that'll work out. Not sure, but let's do that right now. Did I get distracted researching stonemasonry? Yes, I've got the idea written. Okay, I didn't know if it was just a mason, stonemason. Turns out there's a lot of different types of stonemasons that do different things with different kinds of stones. Anyway, I think I've got the correct guy, an engraver. But yeah, it's 1 o'clock. I'm very hungry, so I'm gonna take a break, go eat some lunch, and then I'll be back to this in a minute. Let me be fully honest with you. I ate lunch. And I did so rather quickly. And then I came back here and I looked at Instagram. I looked at some message boards. I looked at some emails. I looked at everything except my writing document. I don't know. I'm just feeling like really unfocused. And I'm still trying to think through these ending pieces. I like this ending bit I've come up with, but this is like the final thing before like an epilogue, right? And I don't know what the steps are leading up to this. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna sort of spend the rest of today thinking. We're just gonna think and see what we can come up with. But I don't know. I just sort of don't want to sit here right now. Luckily for me though, it is a 3-day weekend. I don't think I mentioned that yesterday. We have Monday off for President's Day, and I can spend some time tomorrow doing work. So I'm going to sign out for today. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll probably spend some of this afternoon editing this vlog and or playing Zelda. And if I have more thoughts, I will add them to my document, but I kind of am just like done with it for the moment. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, Monday, and we're gonna wrap this up a little faster than I had originally thought. I did some editing on this vlog on Sunday afternoon, and the rough cut was like 35 minutes long. Okay, that's like ridiculous. So I don't like to having videos that are ridiculously long. So let me just give you a quick recap of what I was able to get done on Monday. So I'm still trying to think through this ending, and I feel stuck. I have some different options, but none of it really feels right somehow. I've started going back to earlier portions of the book, and I'm asking myself, what if this scene ends differently? What if the characters don't get what they're wanting in this scene? What if they do get what they're wanting in this scene? Like, I'm trying to think of different ways prior events can play out to see if that will change how I'm thinking about the ending and stuff. So yeah, just sort of just thinking through that. I'm looking through my calendars. I'm moving stuff around. I haven't really decided on anything yet. Still not quite there for me. That's okay. I still have plenty of time here. I'm not feeling like nervous or worried. I'm just sort of like annoyed. Like, come on, brain, do some thinking. Figure it out. I'll get it eventually. So that's really what I'm planning to work on for the rest of this week, is just trying to figure out how to wrap things up. You know, you want it to be satisfying, but you don't want it to be wrapped up so perfectly that it's like almost unrealistic, you know? So we're trying to find a balance there. So wish me luck this week as I try to crack this book. And I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can click the subscribe button. I usually post videos on Fridays. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!